Hi, welcome to the how-to videos. Today we are going to learn more about personas, one of the single most important feature in Wielded, and how to write them. First up, what are personas? Personas are essentially configurations that you can load into a chatbot. So think of them as chatbots, or you can think of them as apps on the App Store that you can use to configure the behavior of your bots. And for those of you who are familiar with ChatGPT concept of GPT, it's similar to that as well. But if you think about it, there are much more, right? And when we look at how can we use them, there is three main ways that we can use personas in Wielded. The first way is adding context to your chat. You can tell the AI more about yourself, the task that you are trying to achieve, or just shape the output that you're trying to receive from the AI. The second way you can use it is to shape the behavior of the bot, right? Think of it as role playing. You have seen certain prompts that says that ask the AI itself to adopt a role playing personalities. That's what you can do as well, right? You can configure the behavior to do certain things. The third way you can use personas is to augment it with more information, right? So that it can be used for information retrieval down the road. And in this video, I'm going to show you an example of all of them. So first up, if you head over to Wielded, you might be greeted with an empty screen over here. But over here, I have already created some of them to showcase to you what persona can help you do, right? So the first concept that I would like to show you is how we can add context, right, by using personas. So when you have your personas set up, what you could do is that it can add context about who are you and basically help you achieve your task faster, right? So for this demonstration, we are going to use a front-end engineering persona, and this basically has information about who I am and what kind of technology I use on the front end. So based on this, imagine I'm trying to hire a junior front-end engineer, right? And I would like a detailed job description for the role. Then what I could do is that I can just enter this in, and because the AI already knows that I am the founder of Wielded and the technology I use on the back end are, let's say, React.js, right? And there are certain things about code review. So it's familiar with some of the technologies that I'm using, as well as it will inject other elements into this task, right, to try to give me what I want in terms of like a job description. So over here you can see it knows, right, that I'm using React, I'm using Next.js, I use RESTful API at the end of it, we use Git, basically familiar with TypeScript, so on and so forth. So based on this, right, it can create this job description just like that, right? If I hadn't give them this information, you would see that it's gonna give me something else, right? So this is an example where I did not give it more information on what my company or the technology stack is. So it's trying to say like, hey, your company overview, and then this is really generic. So you can see the quality of your output really change by just adding a little bit more context. Now I'm not going to wait for this to run. Now I'm going to show you another example using exactly the same persona. So remember, we use the front-end engineering persona. So instead of asking it to write a job description for me, I'm getting it to help me code a component for this application, right? So I'm asking it to, hey, can you write a contact form component for me? And because it knows what language that I'm using to write this software, right? It's capable of, writing the code in that language in my preferred style for me. So you can see immediately it's producing code that I could use and put it into my code base itself. So this is the power of just adding context. It's not telling it's not telling the machine just yet that I'm using it for specific tasks, but just providing it background information. It's capable of adjusting the behavior just like that. So the next thing I'll show you is on creating bots. So often we want to create a workflow, right? Within our business itself, there are a certain workflow that we do from time to time, right? So this is a great way to leverage on personas to actually, make this workflow really quick without the need of having a separate, let's say, a prompt document that you will need to copy and paste from all the time. Now, I'm going to show you an example. Let's use an investor update, right? So imagine that today I'm a founder and I do an investor update every single month, right? So what I'll do is I'll get a helper. I'll create these personas to help me draft investors update. So what I can do is that I can provide it brief information, well, in bullet point. So there's 20 new accounts with average size of $35 each. 35 users each. Monthly recurring revenue is up 5.6 thousands to 35.3 thousand, so on and so forth. So this is what I might input as a founder to get it to generate an investor update for me. And because it knows how I would like to type and write out the investor update using my voice, right? So it's capable of generating this email for me, right? So dear investor name, hello, hope this message finds you in great spirits. I'm thrilled to share our journey at Wielded that we're pushing the frontier of AI fueled productivity. Every day brings exciting challenges and opportunities, right? In the past period, we have onboarded 20 new accounts, yay. Each averaging a team size of 35 members. So you can see they infer, because of the context, they are able to infer, jargons like this very easily for me, right? Growth has propelled, and there are certain highlights. We have adorned with milestones, and partnerships have been solidifying new prospects. We have secured larger startup accounts, but yet it's something that's hard for us, for instance, right? And based on that, it's capable of writing things like a founder asks, can I get your assistance to help me introduce to certain portfolio companies, so on and so forth. So this is a great way to create a workflow that you have to use regularly, either monthly or day-to-day basis. Now, since we're on the topic of bots, let me show you another one. Another one that we can create is this one for LinkedIn posts, right? So for people who work in content creation, or you're just a founder yourself, you might be leveraging on LinkedIn to reach out to a network. So what I can do is that I can give it a few points that I wanted to write or think about today, and it will just use that to create a LinkedIn post for me. So over here you can see I gave it some pointers on like, okay, help me create a post on something about unit economics of your business, especially CAC, right? So those of you who don't understand CAC, look, it's capable of like understanding what that is and expressing that in a LinkedIn post for me. So there you are. So this is a LinkedIn post that I could use in my LinkedIn, right? Now, another way that I can use personas, it's also something that day-to-day content creator might find it really useful. So if I log into I create YouTube videos like this, right? And from time to time, I'm trying to add the YouTube description into the video so that it can be easily searchable by other people. The same process could be for people who are doing podcasts on Spotify as well. You would like to write things like the podcast highlights, certain things like sound bites, as well as timestamps for key chapters, all of these things. So what I'll do is that I'll paste in the transcript of one of my videos, so you can see it's timestamped. These are raw transcript that I've exported out of Loom, right? So by just pasting this transcript in, it understood the task is to create a YouTube video descriptions, right? So you can see it created a short summary for me about what this video is about, right? And it went on to talk about the the different timestamp chapters that I could use that people can quickly navigate to, based on the transcript over here, and of course adding a little bit more context about my business itself, just to share with people what this is about. So there you go. This is a great way for me to increase my productivity, as someone who's creating content as well. So this is three ways that you can use, you can create a bot around your process. In fact, I might just show you one more, right, before we move further. So from time to time, we are also, for content creators, sometimes we have periods of dry spells in terms of like what kind of content that we want to create, and we just want a brainstorm partner. So over here I'm using content matrix persona to basically just draft out ideas for me, right? So I gave it 4 different topics that I need it to help me brainstorm for, and basically it is printing out different variations of like the topics that I could use. So over here I gave it 4 topics: AI in education, AI is not replacing human workers but augmenting them, and something that's not about AI, so metrics that are important to early stage startup founders, and mindfulness for startup founders, right? So based on this, you can see that it is printing out a matrix of like different kind of content that I can create for my audience. So take for instance, if I'm looking for actionable content in AI and education, then one idea is a step-by-step guide on integrating AI teaching assistant in online course, right? If I wanted AI is not replacing worker but augmenting them, so I can give people an example of like better together, inspiring examples of human AI partnership, right? And if I want to talk about mindfulness for startup founders, I can go into the science of like stress reduction, analyzing how mindfulness changes the founder's brain. So based on this, I basically have generated like almost a month's worth of content based on just 4 topics like that, right? So this is just a demonstration. I'll show you like the content of like basically how you can create all this personas for yourself just in a while, right? So coming back to this, so I've shown you creating bots. Another one that you could use personas for is really just adding like information into it. So how do you add more information, right? So take for instance, I have a bot here that basically understood this document here, right? So this document is a random document that I found that talks about the Singapore National AI Strategy. And it is a 68 pages long of PDF, and basically I put it into this this National AI Strategy Analyst, right? So you have read this report and you are going to be a consultant to it. So based on this, right, I'm going to ask it to, okay, based on the information on the reports, right, create a SWOT analysis for an AI startup in Singapore, right? So based on this, you can see that it's actually retrieving content from within the PDF itself, and using it to create this analysis for me. So in fact, over here you will see they will pull out very specific examples, right? For instance, like AISG 100 experiment program. So if you go here and then you can see, right, there is actually the AISG 100 experiment program in like page 31 of the document, right? And what else? Okay, if you have, so there's something about 15,000 AI practitioners. So if we go here, we can find 15,000? There we go. So it's boosting practitioner pool to 15,000, right? So is to increase the number there, right? So it's by providing information like that, it's causing it to hallucinate less and actually try to extract information from a document to write an analysis for you, right? So this is very very good for people who are analyzing lots and ingesting lots of information and reports day to day. Okay, so this is an example on information retrieval. Now Another way that you can do information retrieval is something less of like copy and pasting an entire PDF into the personas. What you could do is, for instance, backend engineering, right? So there's a persona for me to write my backend code, and what I can get it to do is just print a specific code for me. And the thing is that, you know, this code is actually not stored within the context itself, but it's actually being inferred from a data model that I have, right? So information can also be retrieved and, you know, being inferred from, rather than just pure information retrieval. Now, so we have seen examples of personas. Now, your question at this point in time is probably, that looks impressive. How do I write my own personas? Now, this is how you can do it. First up, on the actual how-to, right? All you need to do is to navigate onto the left side of the sidebar to personas. Click on Create a Personas, and you'll see 3 fields over here. Now, the first one is just a name for you to label this persona so that you know what you know, to search for or use down the road. That's the same for description. Both of these are for you only. The only fields that's going to the chatbot is this custom instructions for this personas. So this is where the most important things goes, right? And the question next is then, how do I structure and write a persona, right? The structure generally looks like this when I write the personas, but feel free to move them around in a way that makes sense for yourself. And also, you might not always want to have all of these elements in a personas. I'll show you one of the few, you know, simplest personas, works amazing, right? So we start off with a little bit of background context, right? It can be about yourself, right, or your audience. So if you look at the founders personas that I used just now, right, I would provide context that, hey, I'm Raymond and I'm founder of Wielded, and this is what my startup do. This is my unique selling point for my startup, right? You can also make use of this background context to add in knowledge base. So take, for instance, if I would like to add in the content of the PDF, I'll just copy the content from the PDF and paste it in. Next, just like any good managers, right, who is tasking the staff to do certain things, right, you want to give them detailed instructions the very first time they execute it, right? So some of the things that you can share with the bot is what kind of frameworks that you use to think about the task at hand, right? Is it a step-by-step process? Is it a one-shot process, right? How do you think about it? The second thing that you can share is also output format, right? Are you looking for bullet points? Are you looking for a table? Are you looking for something that is verbose, or you want something that is short and sweet, right? So this is things that you can provide to the bot to get them to, you know, configure the output for you. Now, if that is not enough, right, and usually it isn't, what you want to do is to provide it with examples, right? So you want to provide it with an example of what looks like a successful, you know, output or a useful output, and based on that, it's capable of like transferring the style into, you know, from your example and to the next task that you assign it. And lastly, right, it's not always that you will have personas that just works off the bat, right? Sometimes you need to add in additional modifier. For instance, it's using too colorful a language and you want to use simpler language, right? That's what you you can add in. For instance, if you know it's giving you a wall of text and giving you a 3,000 word document where you wanted it to be something much shorter, what you do is that you can add in additional modifier to target certain things, like my audience reading level is let's say grade 10, and that the length of the blog should not exceed like 800 words. So based on this, right, the bot will be able to better output the information for you. right? So I'm going to show you a few examples here first, and then I'm going to show you how it maps on some of the demo personas that I've shown you earlier. So this is one of the first ones over here. This is actually the one for writing my investor updates, right? So I start off with like, hey, I'm Raymond, the founder of Wielded, the startup, da 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 da. All of this describing my startup, and then I gave it a framework, right? Using an introduction, body, conclusion structure combined with a problem, solution, progress, next steps framework, craft an email template, right? And the next paragraph talks about, right, I wanted to start off with an introduction of 50 to 75 words, moving on to the first section of how many words and what do you want to put it in there, right? So this gives it a format on how I like my investor update to be. So you can see I'm very strict about like things like, for instance, how many words that goes into it. The next one is additional modifiers. So things like, okay, I want to have it a personal voice of an early stage startup founder, and I want to balance transparency and optimism with certain things like being able to be candid about asking for help and so on and so forth. So this is actually what I use for this startup investor update. In fact, this is how it looks like. So if you wanted to steal this, go ahead, right? So over here you can see I'm utilizing the introduction, body, conclusion, and basically format the email content using Markdown for clear organization. Each section must be succinct and purposeful. So you can see all the different paragraphs that I'm asking it to give me, right? And then finally, the email template should do certain things. This is also a good chance for me to showcase you one advanced feature in Wielded. Something you notice in here is that I started off with a context, I'm Raymond, the founder of Wielded. But over here, you can see in this persona, it's not there. Why? Basically, there is a feature in Wielded that allows you to inherit a personas. So think of it as adding some other text chain on top of your current personas. So what happened is that I have another context that basically talks about my startup and myself, right? So you can see this will be appended to before my personas. So the way for you to know what is the final output that's being fed into the AI, you can click on preview full instructions to see all the full instructions that's going into the AI, right? And this is a great way for you to structure certain things. For instance, like I'm inheriting this wielded context in several places, especially when I'm using it to work. And whenever I update the context of the business, for instance, I'm trying to shape a new ideal customer profile, then the same change should be reflected to all those personas that's inheriting the original one. So to do that, of course, you will need to create your base first. So over here, I'm just saying like this is a base persona that I can inherit it from somewhere else. So this can actually be inherited by another personas there. Okay, so this is your first personas. This is how I would do my investor update. Here's another example. Remember, I told you that you do not need to strictly follow the 3 steps process. In fact, you are free to shuffle it and move it along as you deem fit. So remember the LinkedIn post that I created earlier? So if we go ahead to the LinkedIn post, this one, right? You can see actually the instruction is really simple and clean, right? You are Justin Welsh, who is a prominent figure on LinkedIn, particularly recognized for his unique and engaging writing style. I need you to help me format my content into a LinkedIn post in his style. That's it. So I'm giving you an instruction on basically how to format as well as the style for you to adopt, and then the task, right? Basically I can change this to format my LinkedIn carousel, and then I can use this to write a LinkedIn carousel instead of like a post, right? So this is extremely useful and it's really short. So one way, if you are going to use this personas, or you want to create your own based on this style of writing a persona, what I would say is that first figure if the AI, what the model has been trained on, see if it knows like the style of the person, right? So what you can do is just tell me about Justin Welsh. Okay, there you go. So it knows that it's an entrepreneur and there's personal brand growth and LinkedIn, so on and so forth. So this means that it knows a little bit about Justin Welsh, and you want to know if it is capable of writing in his style. Then basically tell me more about Justin Welsh style on writing, style on LinkedIn. Okay, so it seems like Justin Welsh, the AI model, actually understands what this person's style is like, right? So you can use this to, you can get it to adopt a certain style and then write out your post for you, right? So you can use this same model. In fact, I regularly write about having a track of mentor, right? What you can do is that you can pick 3 to 4 different mentors in different areas, for instance sales and marketing, for instance LinkedIn content writing, for instance leadership, for instance engineering, right? And then use this format to get the AI to adopt a certain style and framework of thinking and advise you on certain things. Next, on information retrieval. So remember this report, this 69-page report, right? So what I do is that I'm just adding that you are an analyst who have read this report and will be my consultant regarding the report. And you don't actually need to attach a PDF article. So I'm going to show you this example. So she analyst, right? And I'm just going to copy all of this thing here, right? And insert into here the report. So coming back to here, I'm just going to copy everything. So Control A or Command A, depending on which systems you're using. So you can see all the text is now being highlighted. I copy the text, go over here and paste it in. You can see, right? So all of the information is now here. Okay, and I can then use it to give me a short summary of the entire report. Keep it to 500, 250 words. Okay, so now it's analyzing the entire report and it's giving me a short summary based on that. Okay, so this is how you can add information into the AI and perform information retrieval based on this. Okay, so that's for information retrieval. Now, next step. So when you're thinking about personas, right, instead of trying to think about what kind of personas I need to write right now and stare into a blank screen, think about this. Start off with what are the tasks that you're trying to achieve, right? And then examine how you would perform that task, right? And once you've done that, what you'll do is that you'll describe the process and the framework in performing that task to the bot. And here's something that I cannot iterate enough, which is it is better to start off simple, right? So for your personas, you might not want to adopt like this 500-word personas right from the bat, right? Start off with something simple, give it certain task, right? Give it the base level of like context on what it might need to perform a certain task, right? And then prompt it based on that, right? And based on the output, you may now want to add modifier to it. So maybe you were expecting an email, right? But it's showing you a blog post or a prose form. then you can say, hey, I would like an email, right? And then you add it into the personas text itself. And the next thing is really just repeat the steps above and experiment again and again until you get the flow of it, right? And try it with different tasks so that you know that you are successful at it. And finally, you want to share with the world like how you can learn to use AI within your workflow. So that's the best way on how you can get started. The best way to learn is actually to teach other people, right? So that helps you in your learning process as well. Now, there is also an additional resource. So you can see there are certain personas that I use. For instance, like investor update. Where did that go? Investor update. There, this one, right? So this is actually on my website as well, right? Over here at wielded.com/ChatGPT right? By the time you see this video, I might have added a lot more prompts for you, but feel free to just search here for prompts that works for you, right? For instance, the YouTube description, it's also here, right? So what you can do is that you can steal them. Let's take a look at this. There you go. So streamlining communication, monthly and quarterly update templates. So there you go. You see, this is not new. It's actually from here. Okay, so you can steal this prompt and then put it into the personas to just repeat this again and again. Okay. Now, finally, before we move to the end, I have something to show, right? So something to get all of you excited. Okay, so you might wonder, how do you create lots of good prompts, right? So this is an example. This is something that I'm thinking about releasing in due time. So watch out for this prompt generator. It will not be in the form of a persona. It might be a new tool by itself, standalone on Wielded app itself. So for instance, now let's say I would like to have my create writing effective press releases that attracts attention. All right, so this is actually a prompt generator that I've created, and I will probably be wrapping it into an app or a tool where people can use this. So what it does is that it considers the different frameworks and strategies that a certain profile would use to achieve certain tasks, and based on that it would actually create a prompt for me to use it. So you can see this is a great way for me to get started on writing a good prompt. There you go. So employ the principle of IDA model and the inverted pyramid framework to craft a press release for my startup. The press release should all of this. So this is a great way for you to get excited about something that's coming up on Wielded as the next feature. And with that, I think we have come to an end. I'm going to show you one last thing. So this is something for fun, right? Say goodbye to my audience. There you go. Something fun to show you. This is actually a monkey. You can see it can alter the behavior of the the robot, the ChatGPT, instantly, just like that. So you can see there's no bounds to what you can do with personas. It's really very powerful. So go ahead and try out this feature and let me know what you think. All right, thank you.